We spooky it up and I'll say the intro and you do the second
Yeah.
part for like extra spooky.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh my God. No, this is I'm not now. Wait, hold on. Ready. I'm not ready for this.
I hate it so. Go!
This is so
Go!
spooky. Wait. I'm ready. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Between Two Coaches, where we're on a mission to make fitness more human, snark sold separately. I'm Coach Nick, and I'm here joined as always with my co-host.
I think I like cats more. Cats. Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us. Did we scare you? Because we switched roles for Halloween. Coach Nick is playing the role of Coach Amanda. No, I'm just kidding. We just decided that right now. We have a great episode ahead of us today. I am inspired by another podcast that I think can really lend itself to our conversation. The podcast reads Reddit threads and has commentary on them, and I couldn't think of a better human to co-host this idea with than Coach Nick, who also happens to be my co-host on Between Two Coaches. So today we're going to introduce that series, if you will. We'll do it as routinely as we want because, again, it's our podcast, so we make the rules, right?
We do make rules, yes.
We make rules. Sometimes we follow them, sometimes we don't. For example, today, there's no Google Doc again. Again, there's no Google Doc. We're getting very lazy. And by we, I mean I. So what we are going to do today in honor of Halloween, when this episode...
Halloween.
Insert the spooky music that Coach Nick...
I was going to make it. I didn't because I didn't know how.
Like maybe sing something or...
I was trying to do the Halloween theme song, but I can't really do it well.
I don't even...
I don't know. Think that's not going to hit well.
Oh, the one that goes doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, it's not the same for me either. It's not gonna, we're not, that's not where our talents lie. Okay. So this episode, we're going to go over the spookiest, scariest things we've seen on the interwebs. And we'll do a combination of threads and Reddit. Am I missing anything? I think that's what we have to.
No, that's what we're doing. And it's going to be super fun. Amanda picked out all the threads and I don't know what they are. So I'll be hearing them for the first time with all of you.
That's what makes it so great. Yes, I am a Reddit thready girly. I'm
not. I never used Reddit.
We have what we have, and what I have is the deep dark web. So before we get into that, Coach Nick made an announcement on his social media this week, and I'm very excited. If you're watching on the Tube or Spotify, you may see my Running Explained shirt. So that's a teaser.
What's what we call a teaser?
Tell us, Coach Nick.
So when we started the podcast, I've been for 5 years a running coach with Lift Run Perform. That's where I started my running coach journey. Well, I started on my own for a little bit, but started really doing it with Mary Johnson over at Lift Run Perform and been there for 5 years. And then this year I got an amazing opportunity from Elizabeth at Running Explained to come over and be the head coach of all their one-on-one program, help kind of grow it, help kind of lead, help kind of work with the coaches and set up things and sort of help create a community over there. And I'm super excited about it because this has been the year for me of doing the things that scare me, like start a podcast and talk on the internet with some stranger who I met one time in New York City, and things like that, where I would have definitely been scared about it, but now I'm trying it. So again, another thing this year where I'm trying something new, stepping outside my zone and seeing how it will feel. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be amazing. Amanda is a coach there. A couple of my running friends from Baltimore are coaches there who I used to run with, who have since moved. But, a lot of people I know there, and Elizabeth's amazing. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
We're so happy. We're so happy. This is Coach Nick's year of yes, as
Yeah,
we say.
not a big yes guy. I change scares me, and it's easy to stay where you're at in your own area. But this year I've tried a lot to not do that, and I'm excited to see where it takes me.
To have you. So, if you haven't had a chance already to congratulate Nick, please do so because he deserves all his flowers. Literally.
Well, thanks.
His flowers.
And Amanda, there's some.
This one is special. This one's special.
I need some more water.
I don't want it. I don't.
You need some electrolytes.
I don't think. Fun fact about me: I don't like flowers. I don't like flowers, but this was gifted.
So everyone send flowers to Amanda.
I just feel that they don't make a lot of sense. Like they die. So why are you investing in them?
They don't die if you feed them and take care of them.
I just don't think they're not a necessary part of the home, in my opinion. It's my home, my choice.
Lay off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Amanda, it is one of your favorite weeks in the big city, right? I think they still call it the Big Apple, right?
That's the technical term. Yes.
There's a little race that goes on this weekend there.
Yes. It's called the New York City Marathon. And
Never heard of it.
I am so excited. The New York City Marathon is a race I've done. Coach Nick, you've not run New York City yet, right?
No, I got in 2020 and then the world shut down. And then I did not, instead of deferring it, I just took my refund because I was like, I'll just sign up later.
And then next thing you know, there were 54,000 people deciding to run a marathon.
Yeah, and I did not get in this year, and that's okay.
That is rich. Well, yeah, I ran it the year after the pandemic, 2021. And New York City Marathon's a wonderful marathon, but what's even better, in my opinion, than running the marathon is being a part of all the events around the marathon and spectating the marathon. And so that's what we're doing. Basically, from Thursday to Sunday evening, I am supporting my athletes who are running the marathon. I'm working alongside Brooks on several of their events, including the Shakeout Run on Saturday morning. After I'm done teaching Sunday mornings, yes, I work on Sunday mornings. I will leave the Equinox Columbus Circle and I will head to the finish area, which is right around Columbus Circle. And I will cheer on folks who I know and love are running this incredible race.
That sounds lovely. It was, I spectated last year and it was a great time to spectate. It had a lot of fun, so much energy. I needed a New Yorker to help get around. I needed sister podcast, friend of the podcast, Vicky, to help me navigate the subway system, even though I lived in New Jersey for 28 years and traveled to New York City a lot. My mode in was usually the path in Hoboken. Yes, that's called. And that was very easy because it was just get on this rinkety old thing and it takes you to downtown. And then we would Uber places, not Uber, we would take taxis back then or walk. But getting around the subway was not my forte. So I always needed a New Yorker, and Vicky helped me get through the subway and make it around. But I probably would be a little intimidated doing it by myself because the city is big and scary.
It is big and scary. But the subway system is, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty accessible.
It was until like they would start announcing things about, oh, this line is closed, and that was the one. And I would just hear F train, and Vicky was like, no, it was me. Make sure you get on the F and take it one stop. And then I'd hear the guy talking about the F, and I'd be like, oh my God, is it canceled? Is it not? Is it skipping? Is
Probably,
it not express? What's happening?
Weekend, that line is trash.
Yeah, and I was just like, so yes, all my fears were there. But I made it, and I spectated, and it was fun.
It is fun. We met that weekend.
We did, our only time, well, until
you came
earlier
to,
this year.
Then you came to run.
Yeah, and then I said, this is my podcast host.
This is my
I'm going to annoy her for the next 6 months until she says yes.
That's accurate. That's exactly what you did.
What goes in my mind.
That's exactly what he did.
That's how I wore down my wife.
Poor woman. I think about her often. How you doing, Kelly? Blink twice if you need help. So we are we done talking about, yeah, we're done talking about it. I mean, we'll have more things to talk about on the next episode, which will be in a few weeks or 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, don't give away.
I'm not going to give it away. Oh, sorry. That's for our next episode. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I think it's time to get into the spooky series where we launch. Absolutely. We're not launching anything. We are just shooting the shit on all of the scary stories that Reddit and Threads has provided us with. Thank you for that.
I'm ready for it.
All right. So we're going to kick it off. I'm going to keep the individuals who shared this one anonymous, but this one is pretty popular. I don't follow this individual, but I see that they are a pretty popular influencer. They ask, interested to hear what the runners threads community thinks of carb loading for a marathon. I experimented with a 3-day carb load before London and never felt worse on a start line. Whereas I just focused on fueling really well at every meal during the build towards Chicago Marathon and felt great.
Oh, something's happening in the background.
Yeah. I mean, the people in the parking lot they're wondering about this one. They're like,
yeah.
Well, so what? So I brought this one up first because as two coaches, I think it's important for us to remind our listeners that we don't want to experiment with anything on race day, especially something that could impact us physically, since that's what we need to be successful at any race, our physical body. So this person mentions that they experimented with it and it didn't work for them that weekend. And my guess, just based on the work that we do, is that had this individual trained their stomach the same way that they train their body for the race, that might have been helpful to them. Yeah. What do you think?
I think one of the things a lot of runners don't do is practice their carb load. I think it becomes a community-wide thing that everyone talks about the week of a race, and everyone sends out their calculators and their graphics on what to eat and how much to eat and start this at this time and eat this product. But no one does it like, no one's telling people 12 weeks out from a race, hey, don't forget to practice your carb load for everything that's like 16 or 18 or 20 milers. Like if you're doing a 20 miler, you should be practicing a mini carb load because that's only 6 less miles than a marathon. So it requires some level of carbs in your system to handle it. And I think a lot of times people don't also, they have sporadic long runs where they feel great and then they don't feel great. And like a lot of that probably comes down to what they have in their reserves entering the long run. And then what happens is people show up race week and they're like, oh, time to carb load. I love eating. And sure, we all love eating for the most part, but like then they grab some calculator that says like to eat 500 grams a day or whatever these calculators are pushing out, and everyone has a different calculator now too. So, good luck finding the one that works for you, or just talk to someone or, practice it. But that aside, like then they're all of a sudden they're eating more carbs than they've ever eaten and they're feeling terrible because they didn't do it anywhere in training. And so is the carbo load a beneficial thing for your race? Absolutely. There's a lot of science that shows it can really help with performance. Just like, fueling your body during the race and caffeinated gels and all the other things, right? But if you don't practice them, if you went 15 weeks and never carbo loaded, yes, maybe you should do lesser carbo load and then next time practice it during training. Don't just try something new race week. That's the thing when I talk with athletes the week of a race, if we haven't been doing it during training or we started working later in the training block and we didn't get to talk early on about this stuff, then yeah, we sort of work on this idea of like, okay, well, we should do something here, but like, let's not go overboard because you probably will feel miserable.
I co-sign everything that Coach Nick said. When in doubt, you should be hiring or reaching out to sports dietitians. We've had many wonderful sports dietitians on our podcast, including but not limited to Holly and Kylie and Stevie. And so far, I've nailed it. Yeah, that's the list so far. So go to them for resources and support. I will say that just anecdotally, to Nick's point, what I found is that folks who find that the carbs that they've calculated are too much for them, is chances are they might be under fueling around their training. And it might just be an opportunity for you to get a little curious about how you're nourishing your body. And again, that's a great time to reach out to a professional and not the internet. That's the theme of today.
Yeah. Not the internet. Yeah, I think there, to what that was written, there's some logic there. We're making an assumption that they didn't practice carbo load, because I don't think a lot of runners do. And if they did and then they carbo loaded and it didn't work, that would be sort of more shocking than like, did they eat something different? But like, the whole point is like, practice the foods you want to eat for race week too. Like, if you practice for your 20 milers and your 18 milers, and if you go further and you do some sort of mini carbo load for each one of those, when you get to race week, you already know what to eat. You're already enjoying it, and you know how much you need of it, right? And you've figured it all out. Like, that's the whole point. Just like we train in our long runs, we take our gels at this same time every long run so we can know our plan. We want to do the same thing with our carbo load. Just work it into your training. It's all part. A long run is many parts. It starts when the day before, when you fuel up before it. It continues when you fuel during it, and it ends after you have fueled afterwards, right? So that's how you should treat every long run.
Yes. Let's move on to the next scary Reddit thread.
Scared already.
Oh my goodness. So this person says their A race was a disaster. Should I go all out on my B race 2 weeks later? So let's see what they said. I need some guidance here to see if this idea is doable or extremely stupid. Yesterday, I ran what was supposed to be my A goal race. While I won't say which marathon it was for privacy reasons, it was a marathon that is known for being a fast and flat course. The build-up to this race was the best training block I'd ever had in my entire life. I was PRing every distance and by a lot. I peaked at 60 miles per week, with 22 miles as my longest run. I had a mix of tempo work and speed work every single week. I expected big things from this marathon. Well, unfortunately, a significant amount of work travel had to happen in the 2 weeks leading up to this race, and this work travel left me badly dehydrated and dealing with being backed up. Uh-oh. Sounds shitty.
Nice pun there.
By trying to relieve this, I used By trying to relieve this, I used medicines that dehydrated me even more. I tried to overcompensate by drinking a lot of element in the days leading up to the race, but I'm not sure it was enough. Race morning is here, and I couldn't get that ever so precious pre-race BM, which was my first sign that this was about to be a rough day. I started running and felt okay, but quickly learned that I had miscalculated how many water stops there would be in this race. By mile 10, I had taken 2 gels, but realized there would not be any water stops for the next 5 miles. I started to feel the effects of dehydration badly. My stomach began feeling nauseous, and I couldn't keep any gels down. I fought hard to hold the pace, but at mile 17, I was purely in survival mode, and I actually puked at mile 20. I tried to drink water and Gatorade at all the remaining stops, but it was too far gone at that point. I couldn't stomach anything. I finished a race, but I finished about 20 minutes behind my goal time and extremely disappointed. My plan was to race the first half conservatively and kick it up halfway mark, but due to dehydration, I never had the energy to keep it up. I feel very confident in saying that this was not a fitness issue. My fitness was there, and I was running more conservative paces at that point that I've run many, many times before. So here's my dilemma. I'm scheduled to run New York City. Hopefully this person...
Of course, everyone is. Feels like.
50. My plan in 2 weeks. Okay. My plan was to just run this as a fun run, but now I'm wondering if I should give my A race plan another shot. I don't feel like I ever actually raced my A marathon due to the dehydration. I never really got into full race pace mode for a significant amount of time. What would you do if you were me? I'm feeling pretty okay today. Was even able to walk about 3 miles, including stairs, with no problem. I am not a new marathoner. I've run NYC many times. I know the course like the back of my hand. My plan would be to spend the 2 weeks hyper focused on hydration recovery, run the last 2 weeks of my taper again. Should I view my race yesterday as a long training run and race NYC? Or should I call this season a wash and focus on getting revenge in my spring marathon? I'm feeling so discouraged after the best training block of my life and want to see the fruits of my labor in. Ooh, this is a common question.
It happens a lot. I mean, this was an extreme case of what happened, but yes, this stuff happens to runners, and it definitely is something coaches hear a lot from athletes about pack up races or things of that nature, and trying again. Not 2 weeks later, it's like very close, and that's like the thing here that I struggle with is like they finished the marathon, and usually I find when you have a horrific experience in a marathon, it like leaves a lot more scarring than other scenarios, right? Like, yes, they didn't run their goal pace. 20 minutes off isn't like, it's not like they walked or didn't, like, they still put an effort out to that if they're in that range of their goal pace. And with everything that happened to still be that close, I would almost take it as a wash and say, like, okay, I know I'm more fit. Like, New York City isn't necessary. I'm trying to think of what marathons were 2 weeks ago. There's many, but like, isn't like 3 weeks in between Chicago and New York?
No, but this
Oh, it said Chicago?
No. This, I pulled this Reddit. I pulled this one last week when we were preparing.
Okay. Well, then New York City's much harder than Chicago.
Correct.
Like, it's not like if it was like Berlin and Chicago, that's like, if it's a similar course where you're like have that going for you, like you're making it, you're trying to recover from something that was horrific, and like who knows how your recovery even goes, because like, a lot of times I don't feel really good after a marathon, and like then you're gonna try and race this pretty hard course that like is many minutes slower than Chicago for everyone. I don't know. I think you vibe it up in New York City. What I would suggest is you go out slower than like you go out your party pace, and then if you get to like the off the what's the bridge, 18 Queensboro Bridge, and you roll into the crowd noise, and you want to like open it up a little bit, go open up for the last 8 miles and go run like some fun time, but like don't go out here and race this whole thing. Like shut it down and know that you were really fit and you'll run another marathon.
I agree with Coach Nick. This one's a wash, and I don't think in my opinion, there's no redo, because your body doesn't experience it as a redo. You're incredible that you were able to complete that distance, but you're incredibly damaged, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Your tissues, your organs, it really is very taxing on your entire body to run that distance, and not just that distance, but your training cycle leading up to that distance. So I think it's too risky. I don't think it's worth it. And to Coach Nick's point, New York City is not a fast and flat marathon by any stretch of the imagination. But have a good time.
I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure the person's listening. And what I would say is, what I see, and what I see is like a lot of people who do Chicago. Like you want to do a backup.
I made a complete assumption that it's Chicago. It just happens to be that weekend.
That's okay. It's fine. I mean, there's Steamtown, there's other things, but like whatever
Steamtown
it was, right?
Not
like
fast and flat. But yes, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. But if you want a good from that weekend, a good bounce back race is Houston if you can recover. It's like 3 months later, so you could actually recover and then build up again. If you really want to go shoot your shot again, like I'm not saying go do it, but like that's a better idea than doing something 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later on a harder course. Then like give yourself a active full recovery of a few weeks, and then if you don't feel good, don't do the race. Or just wait. But like that's like, see, if people do that, like I'll entertain those ideas more than I will like a 2 week later sort of recovery marathon.
I also think I've totally made up Chicago, because there's no way there's no water for 5 miles in Chicago, right?
Yeah,
I made it up.
That's what
I made it
that's
up.
Okay.
I made it up, guys.
But it's the same weekend.
It is the
it's
same
fine.
weekend. I mean, there are,
and it's
as we
fast.
know, there are marathons literally everywhere in the fall. So it's whatever it is, it is. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So that's all right. So if that person is listening, you have a couple of days to get your act together.
Party, pace it up, and then go run a spring marathon.
Talk about it. All right. We're ready for our next thread on Reddit. This is under one of my favorites to follow, AITAH. Otherwise,
I had to Urban Dictionary it
you
again.
did?
Yeah.
And that's an acronym for Am I the Asshole? So, okay. Here is my partner wanted to work out while we were on a family trip. I said no. Am I the asshole? My partner and I were on a family trip for Labor Day. We went to his hometown not too far from where we live. We rented a hotel. We have a 2-year-old. Obviously, traveling and existing with a 2-year-old isn't always the most enjoyable. My 2-year-old also got a small cold, which I did too. It was delayed by maybe a day or so. My partner comes from a trashy family, and there's always a lot of drama and stress when my partner sees them. My partner doesn't carry stress well. He's on edge with me and our son and whoever else is around him. On the last day of our trip, he asked to work out. I just stared at him blankly, and he said, "Never mind, I'm just going to work out." I finally said, "We're on a family trip." He said he didn't know why I had a problem with him working out. Well, we're trapped in a hotel room. My son is sick, and I am now sick too. The last thing I want is my partner leaving for an hour because he fails to self-regulate himself in other ways where he is still present for our child and I. We're at such a standstill. I think he's not putting our family first, and he feels I'm being controlling. The reason why my partner has to work out is for his anxiety and ADHD. He needs the dopamine hit to feel, quote unquote, in control. To me, a small hit of dopamine isn't being in control. It's just a quick high. I don't know, y'all. Am I being the asshole?
Hi, this is spooky.
My goodness, this is scary. This is scary. Like, I'm getting ick thinking about it.
God.
I'm just cringing.
So
for
first
them.
off, yeah, I mean, it's not about the working out. I mean, there's definitely more going on here for sure, but because like this doesn't need to be, I don't know, like it doesn't need to be this way. So like it sounds like family vacation, whatever. First off, I feel like communicate before the vacation, like, oh, I'm a runner, or I'm a lifter, or I'm an exercise person. I'm going to exercise every day for 30 or 40 minutes. Okay, that's fine. And like already lay out the ground rules. If it was said, no one's working out this weekend, and then you come here and change your mind because you're having a stressful time, that's different. But like, if you're someone who works out all the time and you're on vacation, like, okay, like as long as you're communicating that, getting sick for the partner and the baby stinks, but like I don't know, like if I was sick and my kid was sick and my wife wanted to go work out, I'm just gonna lay here, and it depends how sick I am, right? But like I'm just gonna lay here anyway. Like I'm not gonna make you sit here and watch me lay here sick. I don't know. I feel like it's an over exaggeration for just exercising, and like if the hour was the problem, then don't work out for an hour. You can do plenty of stuff in 30 minutes. Like that could be the compromise. So I don't know. I think you are the asshole, but there's more going on. So maybe you aren't. Maybe there's stuff behind closed doors that we aren't aware of.
There's definitely stuff behind closed
Oh,
doors
sure.
we're kind of aware of, but we're also not aware of. The way that she specified that she just stared at him, she didn't even say no. She just stared at him. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I think that OP, okay, so another acronym for this conversation, since I have a feeling we're going to be doing episodes like this in the future. On Reddit, the person who posts, because it's an anonymous site, we refer to them as OP.
Original poster.
Yeah. So I think that OP is the a little bit. a part of me, everything that Nick said is right. That's communication with your partner 101. Let's talk about it. Is exercise a way to self-regulate? Yes. Is it therapeutic? Yes. Have we discussed previously that we need other tools in our toolbox when exercise is not available? Also, yes. And I will say that if this was my husband, aka, so there's co-host, podcast host Nick, and then I have husband Nick. If this was husband Nick, which it wouldn't be, it would be wife Amanda. But if it, because him and I have different. We both have different ways of vacationing, and for husband Nick, if he wanted to work out, and I knew and I know that it would make my partner not only feel better, but be more present for our family trip, our vacation, which it likely would if it's a way that they self-regulate. It's not a big deal. Let's let that person do something for themselves so that they can be a good person for all of us on our family trip. Because what you said is true, Nick. So 2 people miserable and sick in the hotel room, or 3? The math is clear here.
Yeah. And it's like, also, I just feel like whenever people write these posts, the OP is definitely not going to be like, here's all the things I did wrong. They're going to be like, well, here, maybe I did a little things wrong, but here's all this extra stuff that's going to show that I'm in the right. Lily has ADHD, and you can't, like, I have ADHD, and so I don't need exercise for it. But like, does it help? Sure, but like, I'm not gonna, if there was like, if they were really sick at home, then yeah, I wouldn't be like, suckers, see you later, good luck. Like, or I wouldn't miss an event on a family vacation because it doesn't sound like any of that. It's just like, oh, during the downtime, someone wants to exercise.
This person, the more we talk about it, the more I believe. Sorry, OP, for me.
AH.
We have time for one more?
Maybe 2.
You're getting a little greedy now, Coach Nick. It's like,
No.
It's a little spooky. I'm a little scared. Fearing for my Reddit threads. All right, let's do another. We'll see how long we can talk about this one. All right, OP, running marathon shirtless? Question mark. I'm from California / Nevada, where it's really common for men to run without a shirt whenever it's even slightly warm. I didn't realize I did this. Is this common and acceptable in NYC? This is another one of the 54,000. Would it be a problem for the marathon? I know it's too early to tell. So by the time this episode launches, it was 6 days ago. I know it's too early to tell what the weather will be, but the current forecast has highs in the mid 70s. So I'm mentally preparing for a hot one. Thanks. Screaming.
I'm looking up the weather because I haven't looked it up yet anyway. So
I'm going to tell you.
I'm already. No, you're faster than you. No, I'm not.
It's obviously going to be cooler.
Oh, it looks good. 51 to 63.
Why did I have to pick the worst marathon to run this year? Yeah. I'm just kidding. Not kidding. Yeah. So, I mean, is he going to Gorilla Glue his bib to his chest?
I think they usually put it on their shorts, right?
I don't know. It's not clear here. As long as.
Well, that's what most shirtless. I mean, yeah. All right. Let's just, for sake of argument, let's assume that they're going to staple the bib to their chest.
I wasn't going to argue with you. I wasn't going to argue it.
All right. So we're
trying to think,
running shirtless.
I'm trying to think about marathons I've spectated, or any race I've spectated where there are no shirts. It happens
all the time. It seems pretty common.
It happens.
I have a fun challenge every year where I try and run one day every month without a shirt on. It gets a little harder in the winter months, but there's always like a 55 degree where I live, at least in Maryland. There's always like a 55 to 60 degree day always in like January and February. While it's not like incredibly warm, it feels warm when the other days are 30. Oh,
I didn't
you
know you
know,
had this challenge with yourself. That sounds
I don't
scary.
really announce it. It's just fun.
This is a
I don't
formal
run.
announcement.
This is next year we're gonna do a shirtless challenge every month. Everyone, just kidding.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't have issues with it. I feel like I have never run a marathon without a shirt on because I just always have singlets I like, and I don't want to walk around shirtless all day. But I have one ab, so I don't really want to show off Abby.
Not you naming your single ab.
No, that's not why. There's no reason for me. Like I don't get hot enough in a singlet that I don't need to not wear it for a race. So, but I don't have any issue with anyone doing it. I don't. It could be whatever weather you want. You can run shirtless. You could run hot. The marathons, as long as they don't say you can't wear a shirt, then you're good to go.
Okay, so this is New York City, okay? And in this house, we do what we want. Run shirtless, sir. Go for it. Your body, your choice. Consider the Gorilla Glue on the chesticles.
You don't need to then put like body glide on your nipples and have one of those incidents. So that does help, right?
I've seen
I sometimes chafe underneath my armpits too, with the singlet moving around.
It's something to consider for.
You don't want to ruin those race photos with blood all over your singlet.
I literally feel pain when I see the shirts with the bloody nip knobs.
Yeah, I've had it happen. I didn't even notice until the race is over, and I'm like, oh, it's ruining all my photos.
I look like I was massacred, and I was just running a marathon. Okay, great. All right, I'm glad we had that chat. I'm glad we helped this individual.
We learned a lot about each other during it.
We really did. You want me to do one more?
One more.
My God. All right. This is your last one for today, friends. This one, I don't know. I feel like I have to pick a short one because this one could be a long one. All right, let me pick a short one. Okay, ending on a funny / scary note. How do you train all day with long hair? Long hair and train 8 to 10 hours a day with my hair
Hours a day.
With my hair up. I'm experiencing scalp irritation. It hurts and burns. My hairstylist is concerned and said I should see a dermatologist. I try to train with it down, but it gets sweaty and in the way. This person identifies trainers, but this is really anyone, experience the same issue? What did you do? I wasn't anticipating this. Edit. I have fine hair and generally keep it in a messy high.
Right. If you are watching the video, I may have less input into this topic. I rarely had hair much longer than what I'm wearing right now. Yeah, 8 to 10 hours a day sounds like a lot of training, though. But we won't. Maybe that's not what this is about. So we'll just leave. We'll just leave that there.
It might be about that too.
It's okay. We can leave that one over. We'll just put that over here in a little bin
We're
for now.
We could put it. You want to add it to the floral arrangement? Just put it there.
Add it to the floral arrangement. Yeah.
OP. I would go on Google and look up a doctor for this because this one right here, it's above our pay grade. We don't. Scalp irritation. You should not be asking your fellow fit fan for advice on this. This one is beyond the fit fan.
When you got your hairstylist concerned, like you never want to have your hairstylist concerned. That's like
it's a cardinal rule. I think that the worst part about this post are the amount of people who are responding with suggestions.
Well, I mean, it's Reddit. You have to respond, right? You can't just leave it there.
No, you could say like, "Hey, this isn't
not what Reddit's for. It's not what you're gonna do in Reddit. You have the answers. That's why you're there.
All right. Well, I hope that this person sees a dermatologist or shave your head. Those are your two options, I think. There's no in between.
The shaved head works for me, so do that.
It does work for Coach Nick. Did
I do it because I have a bald spot and I'm trying to hide it.
we got a lot today. We got a lot out of.
Yeah, it's like right back here, and so if I keep my hair really short, you don't notice that it's really there. But if it gets a little longer, it's like apparent. So this is my trick to be like, oh, we're fine.
You tricked us.
Yeah, well, now I didn't because now everyone knows. But
Okay. All right, friends. We wish you a happy Halloween to all those who are celebrating. I did not mention this earlier, but I, for one, went to a fun little Halloween party this weekend, and I dressed up as AG Nun.
It was great. I saw it.
And so this episode is sponsored by AG Nun.
They have given us none dollars, and they're not real, but the costume was, as the kids might have said a while ago, it was fire. What was Treg supposed to be?
Treg forgot her, she got in the car with husband Nick and I, and she's like, oh my God, I forgot my arts and crafts. Like she was going to make it in the car ride. Or maybe she forgot the bag. So she was just in all black, but she was going to be Element.
Okay.
But we had tart cherry juice with us. So then I was like, you could just be like Cherubundi.
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, there is research that I like tart cherry juice. I find it quite delicious. And there's research that says it does support recovery. However, we're AG Nun, that they're not the same. We just needed we needed to be supplement sisters, and that's what we chose. Okay, so that's what we chose.
Yeah. Love it.
And we're back at the outro. We did it. Happy Halloween, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. As you know, you can reach out to us at any time at betweentwocoaches@gmail.com or shoot us a note on Instagram. Share this episode. Let the folks know you love us, you're listening, you're learning. And we will see you next time.
Bye.